All right, so Khabib's team has responded to Conor's live stream, and they are threatening not only Conor, but they are threatening his people as well. They did not take that well at all. They did not like what Conor said about Khabib or about Ali Abdelaziz or any of those guys. So, Khabib's team has responded, and they are threatening Conor's people as well as Conor, and it is very exciting. I can't wait to tell you guys about it. Now, I want to start with this Jon Jones story really quick, though, so let's jump into it, and we will get into some content. All right, so we're going to talk about Conor McGregor in this video because he went off on everybody, and he is very much baiting Khabib to do a comeback fight. We all know the situation with Khabib is, his financial situation in Russia. And I'm going to also talk a lot about that because people don't understand how this works. They think because if someone owes $3 million in taxes in Russia, that means they're bankrupt. That's not what that means at all. That's not how money works, okay? It's not how that works. I mean, it could, but almost certainly in his case, that's not what's going on. However, the situation being what it is potentially likely to have him come back and fight. And not because he can't get the money elsewhere, but because he would need to liquidate things that he doesn't want to liquidate. It's much easier to just come back and take a fight. You know what I mean? But anyway, I'm going to talk a lot about that later in the video and about Conor baiting him back into the octagon with his talk about a rat trap and this is what rats do and all that. And Ali went back at him, all that. We're going to talk about all that stuff and Conor's rant on that live stream shortly. But what I wanted to do first is I want to talk about the Jon Jones situation really quick because I did a video about it on Sunday and I realized that one of the things I did not talk about in that video was related to like why Jon gets so mad when people blow him up about the woman beating thing. And I mean, I realize that's like kind of ridiculous. Obviously, like, of course he gets mad about that. But I mean, there is a more specific thing going on with Jon Jones about that I don't think people think about a lot, right? So I'm gonna talk about that. But go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. If you are a person who watches my content consistently, that's all I ask is that you hit subscribe one time, forget about it, and and then you can watch all of my content. It's not free. It costs something. It just doesn't cost money. I just ask that you pay by subscribing to the channel. It takes 1 second. I appreciate you guys. We're going to handshake it. It's a gentleman's agreement. So anyway, so let's talk Jon Jones. Okay, so this is why he gets so upset. And I think it's also a big deal to talk about prior to him going into retirement, just so that people can understand like the challenges this guy is going to face. Because Jon Jones, people are like, oh, he's so insecure. You know, he's so insecure. Like I talked to a guy and he sent me these screenshots of DMs between him and Jon Jones that no one's ever seen. Like I got them in my email and, it's Jon Jones basically calling the guy a hypocrite because the guy's a Christian, saying yada, yada. I mean, it's not really important what's in it. The guy called him a woman beater and then Jon Jones responded. And anyway, bottom line is reading that, I recognize it's like, okay, this is what people don't get is like Jon Jones is two different people. Okay, he really is. We're not talking like not like, oh, the guy's got there's two sides to the guy. It's like, but like not in his case. Like he actually is two different people. And what determines which one you're going to deal with is whether or not he's been drinking. Okay, like if this guy has been drinking, he is literally a different person. There's like alcohol is one of the most powerful drugs on earth. Okay, and it's legal and it's acceptable. People do it all the time. But it affects people differently, okay? And a lot of people think that, it just shows who you really are. I don't believe that at all, okay? I don't believe that at all. There's, it just shows what's really inside a person. So, like, if a guy is an angry drunk, that means he's an angry person and it just comes out because he's drunk. I think that booze affects people's brains differently. And with Jon, okay, he's already kind of like a reckless risk-taking type guy. And it takes his reckless risk-taking down to zero. Like his impulse control is non-existent when he's drunk. Okay. And so why that's important to note is because when people attack him for all of these different things that he's done, you have to understand that the guy who's talking to you on Twitter or talking on Instagram, that's the other guy. Like the person who you're talking to, he didn't do the things that he's defending himself against. That's why takes it so personal, is because you're like, oh, I would never hit a woman. And he's like, neither would I. And they're like, yeah, but you did. He's like, and in his mind, he's like, no, I didn't. You know what I mean? No, I actually did not do that. I would never fucking do that. And it's a weird rationalization because he really wouldn't do that. except you pour 4 drinks down his throat and all of a sudden you got that other guy. It's like he's actually like a completely different person. I never really thought about it like that until I saw this string of DMs between him and this guy, and I was like, man, I'm like, that's what this is, dude. Like, that's genuinely what this is it's not him. In his mind, it's like, it's not him. He didn't do that. And I bring that up because, like, man, when he retires and he's got nothing going on, like, the transition from professional athlete to not professional athlete is tough. Now, in Jon's case, he's had long layoffs. I don't know what those times have looked like in his life, whether they're good, bad, or otherwise. But when you not only are going to have no fights coming up ever again, but you also, like, the star power starts to fade, you know, where people don't, like, if you're not competing, people don't really care that much. You know what I mean? Like, you look like, it's like, oh, Jon Jones is a big enough star that everyone will always be like, oh, there was Jon Jones. But not at the level that this is, and if he starts looking different, you know, it's just like, and if he doesn't get a hold of that demon inside of him, he has a demon inside of him. Like, he literally has a fucking demon inside of him. And I know that demon real well. Real well. You're like, I know I should not do this. Like, I can't do this. This is something that's very bad for me. And somehow you have this thing in your head that's like, no, do it. I can tell, Jon, though, from experience, if you shove that fucker into a box and you really just go, no, he gets a lot less strong to where he actually has no power eventually. You just have to just fucking gut it out. Just do it one day at a time. Next day's easier than the first day. The third day's easier than the second, so on and so forth, etc. Once you've been, off for multiple years, fucking guy doesn't even exist. But I remember exactly what that's like, and it is fucking hard. So I don't judge the guy that, like, hey, when I drink, I turn into blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, why don't you just not fucking drink then? It's not that simple. I promise. If you don't know the demon, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. It's not as simple as that. If you don't, like, I guarantee you at least half my audience knows exactly what I'm talking about. The other half, if you don't, just trust me, it's real. It's like if you, I don't know, if you've ever torn your ACL and I haven't, and you're like, no, like, you can't pivot. I'm like, oh, no, yeah, I know. You're like, no, you don't. It's like, no, yeah, you're right, I don't. Anyway, let's continue. Let's talk about Conor McGregor, the main point of this video. Let's rock. But first, I want to thank the sponsor of this video, Yo Kratom, $60 kilograms, all the different strains, gets to you in 2 days. It says it is as reliable as Amazon. That is legit, dude. I ordered some the other day. It is already here. YoKratom.com, $60 kilograms. You will not believe how much money you save if you are currently going to, like, a smoke shop to buy that stuff. So check them out, YoKratom.com. All right, so Conor McGregor's in war mode, apparently. If anybody was curious, Conor McGregor's mindset going into his fight against Michael Chandler, apparently he's back in pre-Nate Diaz 2 days. And what I mean by that is, have you ever seen the footage of him backstage before that fight where he was walking around with his shirt off? He literally tried to fight every single person backstage. Where Tyron Woodley is grabbing like a glass of water, and Tyron's like, "What's up?" And Conor's all, "What's up?" And he's like, "What's up, man?" And he's all, "What's up, man?" And he literally just walked around trying to fight everybody. I think and he almost got a fight with Khabib and Ali Abdelaziz that night too. We got to think about that coming up too, because he talked about Khabib. He also starts this entire interview off, this thing where he went insane. He talked about everyone. He talks about kicking Volkanovski's head off. Like, I don't think he's going back to 145 pounds. I guess Volkanovski can come up to 55, Who knows? That actually is not a bad super fight now that I think about it. I don't know what the hell I was talking about a second ago. Either way, he went after literally everybody. And, but yeah, he, backstage before the Nate Diaz fight, he almost got into it with Khabib and Ali. And then Ali responded on X. And, I'm pretty sure this was like a threat towards his whole team, like, for real. He said, like, he's like, none of you guys are safe. And I was like, listen, I don't want to be someone who is, what's the right way to put this? Remember, like, all the journalists during the East Coast, West Coast beef between Tupac and Notorious, and everyone's all East Coast versus West Coast. Everyone's all, damn, that's a crazy beef. I wonder who's going to come out with the next rap battle. And then they both got murked. Like, I don't want to be one of these guys that's throwing gasoline on a fire that's going to lead to people actually getting killed. But I do like a good conflict, man. I'm not a perfect person, okay? I am a combat sports fan. And, These guys are both excellent for the game. So we're going to watch what Conor said. We're going to go through some of the responses, and he apparently destroys. This is per the description. I haven't even seen most of this. Destroys Khabib, Jon Jones, Islam, Poirier, Topuria, Bilal. It's like, dude. He's gonna go off. So let's get down with some of that and we'll talk about it. All right, let's do this thing. Let's start right now.
Ali Abdel Aziz is a fucking fool. Tell me your opinion on Ali. That's my opinion. Khabib owes his ball.
So that one right there. So he's like, Ali's a fool. Check this out. Ali was like, oh, I have an idea. He's like, don't talk about Khabib because he says, you keep talking about Khabib. You forgot what happened to you and your team. Be careful what you wish for because none of you guys are safe if you keep talking. I like that just because it gets to, like, it allows me to speculate about what he means. It's such it's so ambiguous, you know. It's like, what do you mean not safe? Not safe how? Are we talking about gangster shit? Or are we talking about like Khabib might come back and fight? You know? What are we talking about? Are we talking about sending someone to Conor's estate? Or are we talking about Khabib coming back to fight? You know what I mean? Because listen, I would never wish, I would never wish anything, guys. I would never wish financial strife on anyone, certainly not on Khabib, a person whose life I respect and his character I respect so much. But, you know, as a combat sports fan, listen, if Khabib were to want to solve his tax problem by coming in and fighting Conor McGregor in the octagon, I can't imagine being unhappy with that development. You know what I mean? Feel like I would probably be pretty excited about that. And listen, again, here's the thing. If you need cash, it doesn't mean you're broke, right? Like if he owes $3 million and he wants to just take a fight to go do that, like that, there's nothing like unreasonable about that. And that doesn't mean you're broke. It just means your assets are tied up in, you know, or your money's tied up in assets, like physical assets or investments that you can't pull the money out of. It's, you know, if a person is worth $10 million as an example, and they have $3 million in cash they can touch right now, then they're an idiot. You know, like that's not what rich people do. You don't have $3 million on hand if your total net worth is $10 million. Like you need that stuff invested, you know. I have no idea what his net worth is. I'm just saying. It doesn't mean he's broke if he can't touch a liquidated $3 million and he decides that the better way to get his hands on $3 million quickly is to take a fight, train for, you know, 3-4 months and then go fight and then pay off the thing, as opposed to, you know, having to sell a long-term investment. Like, I'm just saying, I know he says he doesn't want to fight. I know he says that he's retired. I know he said that he's going to spend time with his family. But I mean, listen, dude, like this is like Khabib's a real human. He's an actual person. You know what I mean? Like everybody decides what they're going to do professionally based on their financial life in many cases. And so, I mean, if it's me and it's like, hey, do you want to sell this? You want to sell this building that's going to be worth 5 times that in 20 years? Or do you want to take 2, 3, 4 months, train and go fight and then solve this problem that way and come out with an additional $7 million on top of that? You know, like probably after taxes if he negotiates well. Like that's an easy decision for me. You know, as long as he doesn't feel, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure that there would be some pride involved if Khabib feels as though it's going to be perceived as him doing it because he's broke. Because I think it will be, because most people don't know shit about money. You know, like people don't know shit about money. If Khabib does come back, and the narrative is, oh, Khabib's broke. I mean, Conor will say that, and Conor for sure knows that's not true, but he's doing it to bait him. But if actual people are saying that, all that tells you is they don't know anything about money. Like, plain and simple, okay? Because what would you do? Here, this thing, you can sell this for $5 million. You get $5 million right now. Now, that thing that you're going to sell for $5 million is going to be worth $17 million in 5 years. Or would you rather go do some work for a few months and you'll get, you know, all the money you need and then a lot more? Common sense, dude. That's an easy decision. Anywho, let's continue with this tirade that Conor went on. And we're not going to watch this entire thing, but I just want to give you a taste of where Conor was at, all right? Like, check this out, dude.
fool. Tell me your opinion on Ali. That's my opinion. Khabib owes his bollocks to the Russian government. That's typical rat behaviour. Thoughts on Jones avoiding Aspinall? Thoughts on so many of Khabib's camp caught cheating, you know? It's disgusting. Disgusting.
Wait, hang on. But like, who in Khabib's camp got caught cheating? I know the thing with Umar Nurmagomedov, but like, God, I'm so proud of myself that I can knock out that last name so well now. There was a time, I'm not good at last names, dude. You guys know I called Logan's best friend Mike like Mike Maljic or something. I know that's not right. Someone actually told me in the comments, and I acknowledged it. I was like, oh, got it. It's like Mayak or something, but it just went in one ear and out the other. I'm like, fuck, I don't really care though, you know? Like I don't really care that much. But I do care about, you know, being respectful and pronouncing Khabib's last name correctly. So, and this is hilarious that I'm saying this because everyone's like, it's Khabib. I'm like, I know, dude, but you know, it's spelled with a K. So Khabib, but Nurmagomedov. Look at that, dude. I trained myself that way. Anyway, so Conor goes off on everyone, dude. So he doesn't give a shit about Jon Jones or the Tom Aspinall thing. He says everybody's cheating in Khabib's thing. He says Khabib's a rat because he owes back taxes to the Russian government or something. I don't know. Let's continue. Then we had this gem. We had this gem too. This is great. This is great stuff. By the way, why is the quality of this video so bad though?
How about Dustin and Makhachev? You know, I think Dustin can do him. Yeah, I think Dustin does him. Knocks him out. I think the things that Makhachev does wrong, as you know, the things he's not good at, he fumbles over his feet, usually early on, and falls into shots. He's been knocked out by a back check hook from a southpaw before inside the UFC, and you know, that's one of Dustin's best shots. If Dustin's ever going to do it, it'll be this time. You know, obviously Dustin does his things bad also that feed into Makhachev's strengths. So it's going to be a good fight and see which one shows up. But it's all to play for. There is no clear favourite in it. And, you know, if you look at Dustin's last fight, he was getting manhandled by Benoit Saint-Denis. And he stayed, you do it. And he stayed with it. And then caught him, you know, got back to his feet, stayed with it and landed his shot. So if ever, you know, that's great experience to be going into this bout. If there's ever a chance for him to get it done, this will be it.
Here's the problem with that though is if that situation obviously they're very different fighters, but if he gets rocked like that against Islam, if anybody gets rocked like that against Islam, they're gonna get submitted. You know, like like if they're rocked like that and they're kind of standing and they're still kind of able to trade, but they're rocked. Islam's going to take him down, and if he gets them in a compromised position on the ground, he's going to submit them, you know? Like, Islam is a tough puzzle to solve, and Dustin is the toughest dude on earth, and listen, as much as I love Khabib and his team, like, I can't root for Islam in that fight because I love Dustin Poirier too much. I love that guy, dude. I love that guy. I said they should have done that fight in New Orleans, and I will stand by that. It's terrible that fight is not in Louisiana, but I will say this. If Dustin does win, you better do his first title defense in fucking Louisiana, dude. You know? And again, I've said this before. I will say again, if Dustin wins and Conor wins, that is the biggest no-brainer fight of all time. Blood feud. But, actually, I don't know. I think Max Holloway and Conor for BMF if he wins is better. But also, dude, Chandler against Holloway for BMF is also an absolute... Wait, what? Holloway against Chandler, is that what I said? For BMF is also a huge banger. So let's continue.
Who do I wish for? Who would I like to see? You know, either or. I have history with both. And, you know, let's see how it goes. Do you think you will still fight for the UFC title? The UFC title is my title, my man, you know. I have 5 of them in the house, or 6 of them or something in the house. I have one here in the Black 4G that the fans come and see.
Wait. Hang on. He has... 1, 2 of them, right? Am I smoking crack? Is that he won again? Oh no! Oh, I'm sorry. 3. He beat Chad Mendez. He beat Jose Aldo, and he beat Eddie Alvarez. That's 3. I think if I am forgetting a title that he won, then that is very embarrassing on my part. But I don't think that I am.
The unified featherweight world title I have here for the fans to come and, you know, hold in their hands and take pictures with. I've got belts all over the place. So, I for sure.
I think those other ones are his Cage Rage ones. That's probably what he's talking about. Because he was the double champ at Cage Rage also.
Have title aspirations within the UFC. And, here we go. June 29th is the return. And onwards we go.
It is insane that he's actually fighting. Like, I honestly feel as if this has not sunk in on most people yet, that, like, Conor's actually fighting in 5 weeks. He's fighting in 5 weeks. Conor McGregor is fighting in 5 fucking weeks. I feel like it just has not sunk in on people that that's actually happening. Apparently the gate is already like over 20 million now. The tickets are ridiculously expensive. Obscenely expensive. But listen, dude, that is who this guy is, man. That's why I keep saying the fact that he's at BKFC, that is not a small deal at all, man.
There's belts all out. There's belts lined up. If you look at this lightweight belt, it's lined up for me. I have deep history with both. If you look at the bad mother title, it's my title. It was given for Nate. Who turned Nate into the bad motherfucker. And now Max is the champion in it now. So, these belts are all teed up for me.
He's right 100% about that. Like, you got to keep in mind, I know, believe me, I understand that everybody is going to be like, are you kidding me, dude? He's won 1 fight and blah, blah, blah. Like, believe me, I am not unaware that is going to be a very, very consistent narrative. But you just have to accept the fact this guy is not another. There's no other person that's even in the same stratosphere as Conor, dude. He has not fought in 3 years. 3 years. And he lost his previous 2 fights by stoppage. And his first comeback fight is breaking every record already. Like, he is the biggest megastar in combat sports history. That just is what it is. I think you can just say that across the board now. I mean, as a matter of fact, I know you can. That can just be said now. Because, like, Floyd Mayweather's last fight, I don't want to look it up because I can't remember. But I'm talking not like his last fight, like, Logan Paul. But his last fight before he retired and then, started fighting people that are not, like, contenders, real boxers. I think it was, like, Burrito or something. I don't know, whatever. Berto, whatever. He fought his last fight. I remember I did like a golf tournament. I was playing like in a poker tournament with a lot of my buddies watching it. And I could tell that Floyd was like, he was upset, and like, cause it didn't sell well is my point. Like, he fought this whatever guy and it just didn't sell well. Like, it really didn't sell well. And, I just don't think there is a person on earth that Conor could fight where it's not going to break records, dude. Now, obviously, Chandler's a huge star. They've got background. They did the show and all that stuff. But I really don't think that the show matters that much. I think the fact that Chandler's a pretty, like Chandler is that, like, there's like the biggest stars. And then Chandler's kind of in that like next tier right there. But if he knocks out Conor, guess where he goes? You know what I mean? Guess where he goes? So, but like, I think Conor could fight anyone and it would have broken the record. He's the biggest. I really think I can say that now, that he's like, the fact that they broke the record with his comeback fight by this margin, you got to say he's the biggest combat sports star ever.
Then you even look at the welterweight picture, which is the next bout, my next weight, the welterweight picture. Leon Edwards, Nate Diaz almost knocked him out, had him out on his feet. If that fight was going on, Leon's unconscious.
I love that fight, dude. I mean, I'm serious. Like, if Conor looks fantastic in the Chandler, I love a Leon and Conor fight. But again, if I'm getting ahead of myself, so is he. He needs to focus on Chandler, dude. Like, he needs to focus on Chandler. That's probably enough for this segment.